Hi folks, Rodney back again with Rodney's Northwest Riding Reviews. I've had quite a few viewers recently inquiring about vehicles that they're either wanting to put in an order on a vehicle, or if they have a deposit down on the vehicle that's supposed to be coming in, they're just trying to get some updates. But I've had quite a few things that have come up recently. I want to kind of try to clarify and help a lot of people that are waiting for, trying to find a Tundra, I should say. So number one, here I'm on Toyota.com. And so Toyota has a site in this site here that you see where you can go in there and you can build the vehicle you want. So we're going to kind of walk through it, and maybe I can try to help answer some questions along the way. So let's say you're looking for, let's just use a hybrid Tundra. And you can go in there and you can pick out the cab configuration that you want. So we'll just use the limited model here. It's going to ask you to pick the bed size. Then you can either pick two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. Now, as we're going through here, I'm going to kind of point out a few things here. But I think the common misconception is people think that they can go on there and build a vehicle and it's going to go to the factory, and the factory is going to build the truck exactly the way they want it. Unfortunately, that's not true. So this is a tool that you're able to use that will give you an idea of what things are actually available on the Tundra. And so if I'm looking for like a specific package, this will help you find that. Excuse me. So obviously you can add a heated steering wheel, if you wanted, blind spot monitor mirrors, limited power package. So there is quite a few things that are all optional on the limited model. For instance, JBL audio. You could add rear air suspension if you wanted to. And then it starts getting into some more in-depth options. So for instance, they have the limited PVM package, which is going to include your panorama view monitor, then your blind spot mirror, so that's together as a package. If you wanted to put rear air suspension and you wanted the limited power package with that, or even like for instance a panoramic moonroof. So the list is just very in depth, and it's really confusing because it looks like you can kind of go in here and pick out exactly what you want, and then in hopes that that truck's going to get built. So what Toyota actually allows you to do with this information is that once you've provided all the accessories or all the packages that you want to the vehicle, you go through here, you can add accessories if you want to, and then it finally prices out a truck potentially equipped exactly the way you want it. You can go in there and you can request a quote. And so what this does is this, you have to go in there, you put in your information, and you can actually select a dealership based on the zip code. And you can send it to a specific dealership, or you can actually send it to multiple dealerships if you wanted to and have them price it out. So once you add all your information, basically what you're doing is you're submitting an inquiry to that dealership. You submit the request, and then somebody from that dealership is going to contact you. So this is number one, it's a tool for you to use where you can figure out what exactly you can put on the vehicle or how you can get it equipped. But then it's also a sales tool for Toyota to have a salesperson from one of their dealerships go on ahead and reach out to you and try to get a deposit on an incoming vehicle, or maybe sell you something that they have currently in stock. So this is the part that gets frustrating for customers, is that they think that, okay, it's going to order the truck, and unfortunately it doesn't work that way. Now, for example, Ford will allow you to go on ahead and order a truck, and you can get it equipped exactly the way you want it, and the likelihood or the time frame would probably be 3 to 6 months. What I've heard people asking about here recently, and I'll give you an example. A viewer sent me a message yesterday, and he says, hey, he says, I put $1,000 non-refundable deposit on a vehicle, and they're going to order it for me, and they said it should take no longer than 6 months. Is that true, or are they misleading me? And the unfortunate thing is that, no, it's not entirely true. I'm going to back out of here so we can maybe look at something a little bit different. So here's what happens. They can put in an order and they call that a preference. When you put in a preference, you're submitting all the equipment that's wanted on the vehicle. The only way for that truck to be built is if that dealership receives an allocation in that certain configuration. So for instance, here we're looking at a 2022 Tundra Limited, and don't get caught up on the year model because it really doesn't matter. But let's say you're looking for a 2022 Tundra Limited model Crew Max, and I apologize, I don't remember what this is hybrid, but anyway, they have to have an allocation for that specific configuration. So if they don't get an allocation for that Tundra Limited in that 5.5-foot bed, then that truck won't get built. And so what happens is then your order goes on to the next round of allocations. Allocations come out every 2 weeks. And we never know ahead of time, as dealerships, we never know ahead of time what we're actually going to be receiving in that allocation. So if they do receive an allocation for a Tundra Limited, that order may get submitted and it may get picked up. But let's say, for instance, they don't have all the equipment. And so we ask for a panoramic moonroof. Some people are asking for air ride suspension. Some people want trailer tow mirrors. If they don't have that equipment at the factory at that time, that truck's not going to get built. So it just kind of gets sent on to the next round of allocations. After a few rounds of allocations, if they still don't have everything to build that truck, then it gets kicked out of the system. And at that point, the dealership has to go back in, resubmit that order, and see if they can get it built again. So when dealerships are telling you that, it could take 6 months to a year, they're just guessing. They're hoping that that truck will get built. Here's another thing that happens a lot of times as well. Let's say they get an allocation for a Tundra Limited in the Crew Max in a 5.5-foot bed, but it's not in the color that you want. At that point, they can request to do a boss change. And so a boss change allows them to change things like colors. Maybe they can get an accessory added to the vehicle, but there is some downfalls to that. Boss changes happen about maybe 10 to 15% of the time. So in order to make a boss change, it has to be 3+ weeks before that vehicle is actually going to get built. So we're going to back up a step further. The dealership receives an allocation and they say, okay, we're going to build you this vehicle. This is going to be the body configuration it's going to be in. This is going to be the color, and it will tell you exactly what equipment's on it. But let's say it's 2 weeks before that vehicle is scheduled to be built. You can put in a boss change, but the likelihood of it getting built is probably not very likely. Like I said, it only works about 10 to 15% of the time to begin with. But if they ask for that boss change, it has to have time for the system to go on ahead and accept it, make sure they have all the items in stock, and then go on ahead and schedule it to be built. If they don't have time to get that stuff, or they don't have the materials needed, it's going to kick that order out. So the dealership will more than likely give you a call and say, hey, I've got this truck coming in. Would you accept it in that color? And if you're like, no, that's not what I ordered. What I ordered was what I specifically wanted. Okay, well, we'll keep working on it and we'll let you know. I've had many customers tell me the same thing. Hey, I've waited for 6 months. They can't get the truck built that I want, but they got one coming in just like it and want me to take a different color. If you're flexible on that and you want to go on ahead and get a vehicle now, that's probably a great way to do it. But if you're hoping to get that specific truck built, it may be a long time. Had another customer said, hey, I'm wanting to order a Tacoma TRD Pro, and my local dealership's telling me it's going to be a 2-year wait. Well, there again, they may already have other people trying to put in orders, and that's why they're kind of putting you on the back burner saying, hey, it's going to be a long time. It's just, unfortunately, it's the business, and I hate to be a part of that, but I'm trying to give you guys reality so that people are not waiting for a long period of time and find out that they could have done something differently. With all that being said, I would not put down a non-refundable deposit. And here's what's happening. I think a lot of dealerships are actually trying to take the customers out of the market, and by telling somebody it's going to be a non-refundable deposit, most customers or potential customers are going to be more loyal to that dealership, knowing that they're holding your money and you're not going to get it back. So yes, it does potentially take you out of the market. If they can do a non-refundable deposit, you can go ahead and submit the order the way you want it, and just you have open dialogue with your salesperson where they're kind of letting you know that, hey, these are the allocations that we received. Unfortunately, your orders either has been received or has not been received or approved. And if you're a little bit flexible and you might take something else that they have coming in, you're going to stand a much better chance of getting that vehicle in a shorter time frame than holding out to get exactly what you want and then that dealership never being able to promise exactly when it will be. So I don't know if this helps you guys. If you have any other questions, I'd be more than happy to kind of go in depth with it and further with you. But like I said, send your comments my way. If you do have a vehicle that you've already put a deposit on and the vehicle's scheduled to be built and you have a VIN number, feel free to send me the VIN number and I'll give you an update on that status. I mentioned this in several videos before. If you have a VIN number and it has a letter in the last 5 digits of the VIN, that means it's a temporary VIN number. So the factory issues a temporary VIN number for that vehicle right up until the time that the vehicle is built. Once it's built, that switches over to a permanent VIN number. So if your vehicle has already been built, make sure that you're sending me the permanent VIN number rather than the temporary VIN. And if you don't have the permanent VIN number yet, I would contact that dealership to be sure that you get it. So there again, hopefully this helps some people. Like I said, feel free to send your comments my way. I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. If you want me to give you a status update, I can do that as well. Take the time to like and subscribe. I know there's many people out there looking for information. I do have weekly content coming out. And if there's certain things that you would like to see covered, I'd be more than happy to either, number one, send you a video that I've already created on that, or maybe create a video that will help you and many other viewers as well. So thanks again for watching. Have a great day.